push live. We're on. So I don't know if you want to
Hi,
share that.
that's fine. Yeah, so okay, I will share that. Can you see him?
Yeah.
He just wants to spend time with me. That's
Oh,
the
so he's just
littlest
gonna stand there and
carnivore.
he's gonna stare at you the whole time you're doing this.
Yes, he is, and I'm gonna laugh. You're gonna see me look away from the camera. So, hi, Courtney. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Good morning, YouTube. Where are you at right now?
I am in Daytona Beach, Florida. I
Okay,
am
that's
playing
pretty.
husband. I'm kidding. Um, I own this townhome with my wife, and she specifically wanted a place where she could turn the key and walk away from it and join me on the road when I'm traveling. So that's
Amazing.
yeah. And I'm like every other snowbird in the world. I want to be where it's at least 70. So that's where I've been for the winter, and here I am. So
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me. I know, gosh, you guys are gonna have to bear with me. I'm gonna have to cough like 80 times. Goodness. Okay, so we were chatting on Instagram and we're like, let's bring this live for other people to listen to. Because
absolutely,
I think a lot of people will relate to where we are, and where we are, we're calling it the messy middle. Um,
yes,
do you want
that's
to
really
share
well
like
said.
where you're at right now and why like we even started talking about this?
Gosh, I'd love to. I think, and just so people are very clear, this is not an interview of either one of us. This is just us. Good morning, Mia and Margot from South Texas. Boy, I hope you guys are okay. Sorry,
Mm.
I struggle with reading the chat, so I'm sorry. It's hard for me to look up and down. Just being real. I think it's really important that people see this messy middle because the messy middle is where so many of us find ourselves. And when we see influencers, and I'm not calling anybody out in a negative way, I'm just calling out the reality of what we see. When you see an influencer like Dr. Boz or Dr. Sean Baker, Paul Saladino, uh, Anthony Chafee, we're seeing people that are quite literally at their health peak, and we're influenced by those people because that gives us a good goal, right? And we say, I want to have that body. I mean, yeah, I've got a man crush on Anthony Chafee. Don't get me wrong. I can't wait to meet him in person in Texas. And I just think it's really important for people to understand that to have gotten to where they are didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen clean. They didn't just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, I'm going to start eating carnivore, or I'm going to start eating keto or ketovore," and then days later they've got 6-pack or 12-pack abs. They have, Dr. Baker's got arms as big as each one of my legs. So that didn't happen. Like you didn't see the transition phase, right? And and I understand. I mean, they're influencers. They have a brand. Dr. Barry has most definitely a brand, and I think it's important for everybody watching any of the videos from any influencer that it's not always clean. Sometimes it's messy, and I've been in this messy middle space for the last 4 months. So,
Yeah, me and you both. And yeah, gosh, this just won't clear. I'm sorry.
well, look, this is also very important. People need to understand that this is real life. I mean, when you see one of these very highly followed influencers talk, they've probably gone through this coughing bit to the point that they don't say, you know what, I don't even feel good enough to do this right now. We're going to have to reschedule. We're just going to do this as raw as it can be. So continue with the coughing.
Yeah, I'm going to show up as the disaster that I am. I'm coming off of like 2 weeks being sick, so it sounds like it's finally clearing up. But yeah, a lot of people, and this is fine, a lot of people start their journey online like after they've gotten to their goals, which is fine because they're like, oh gosh, look what I just did. Let me like help others like get here too. And there's a lot of us that are just documenting the beginning, and we have a lot of success, and then here we are stuck and not quite at our goal, but we've accomplished so much. Like how where are you at? Like where did you start? Because you've lost some weight. What's going on with you?
Well, I can go all the way back to, well, September of 2019 is when I first did carnivore, and I was about, I'm going to say I got up to about 205 when I was 175. And my mother-in-law, I had injured myself, and my mother-in-law said, if you want to get that weight off quickly, you need to do the carnivore life. So I did, and I got back down to a fighting weight, and I felt great. Then I had my stroke, and then I had to learn how to walk again, and I had to learn to balance, do all those things that strokes manage to take away from most people. And just to clarify, the stroke wasn't related to being carnivore, as the best we can all tell. I took a steroid, oral steroid, which I hate. I took that because I had a cold. So, anyways, over the next, I guess, 4 years, my wife and I lived in an RV and traveled the country, which is brisket that everybody sees. And that became an exercise in day drinking. Just being completely honest, brisket did not look like brisket does right now. And by day drinking, I'm not talking about a little bit. 9 o'clock in the morning, we're having some Zing Zang Bloody Mary with Tito's. And at noon, I'm in a resort pool at an RV resort drinking Mick Ultra. And by 5 o'clock, I'm probably drinking a pineapple flavored New Amsterdam vodka with Diet Sprite because, Diet Sprite's healthy for you. And that day drinking exercise pushed me back up to almost 260 pounds. And there was a year where I said, it was 2022. I told my wife, I can't do this anymore. I'm killing myself again. So it's time to take this seriously. And so that's when I wrapped brisket because I thought, well, having an RV that looks like this is definitely my accountability partner. And so I can't step out of that RV fat and unhappy. And because health really begins with the fork and health goes to your mind, right? And so then I realized in November of last year when I came off the road again, and moved back into Florida for the wintertime with my wife, um, I found myself snacking. And just to be brutally honest, because I think that's what people deserve, things like cheese, not raw cheese, not the organic cheese. I just Colby Jack, and sometimes I would put it on a cracker. Sometimes I would eat peanut butter on a stick of celery. It's I fell into the trap, and it's easy to do, and I think a lot of people do it. And so here I found myself almost 35 pounds overweight. And I said, oh, you know what? I've got until May 30th to be setting up brisket in Austin for Hack Your Health, which a lot of people know as KetoCon. And I can't possibly show up at that event looking and feeling the way I did. And I knew I had done wrong. And so I contacted one of my favorite people in this space, Dr. Boz. And I said, Dr. Boz, this was April 30th, April 31st. I contacted Dr. Boz and said, Doc, problem. I thought I had enough time. And like every other, um, putting something off for everything else in my life, I thought that I could do this in a couple of months. I was wrong. So help me. And she said, okay, this is what you do, the sardine diet. I'm like, what? And she said, yeah, you need to eat sardines and go look at my videos on. Actually, she didn't even say look at my stuff. She said, Google the sardine fast. So I did. And most of the videos came up were hers. So I thought, okay, well, I'll try it. I texted her back and I said, do you have any other solutions? Because my gag reflex is pretty strong with this one. And I don't like fish in a can. And she said, put on big boy pants and be a man and do this. And, I got to say, I'm glad she did that because that spoke to me. And so I've been doing that. And since May 2nd, I did a 3-day fast. Then starting May 2nd, I started eating sardines, 1 can a day, 4.4 ounces of, oh gosh, wild frontier. I don't know. But it's a clean EVOO
Wild
lemon
Planet.
and Wild Planet, thank
I
you.
think I have a few cases of those in my in my cupboard. Oh.
And so I eat those. The lightly smoked I can handle. And I actually just got finished eating another can of it right now. So, anyways, it
Wait,
was
are you
yeah,
eating only sardines and
yeah.
nothing else? Okay.
Well, I say nothing else. I'm purposely limiting myself to 500 calories a day. And by limiting myself to that, my body is having to live off of the body fat that I have. So, proof positive, I started this out at 212 on April 30th. My wife and I went to dinner for our birthday. We both had the same birthday, April 29th. And so it makes celebrating really easy. And we went out to dinner that night and didn't blow it out and have a bunch of sweets or anything crazy like that. We ate, I think it was Outback. We had steak, and that's pretty much all we needed. So I said, okay, now I'm going to begin this hardcore fish fast, basically. And so I started doing that. I added one other thing to my food. Equip Foods Prime Protein. In my opinion, it's the cleanest protein on the planet, and it only has 3 ingredients: stevia, grass finished or grass fed protein, and cocoa powder. And then if you have peanut butter, there's some other ingredients, but I digress. I try to stick with a single ingredient thing. So 3 ingredients, I can pronounce every one of them. I know all of them and I know how they affect me. So I have a milkshake every other day sometimes. So yeah, between sardines and that, I am now down to this morning 196. And my
Wow.
goal is to be at least, I mean, no more than 197 because that's what I was last year. I've already met that. But guess what? That's not my end goal. My end goal is 175. So that's where I found myself in the messy middle. Here I am in that middle space where I could color outside the lines and eat. I'm just going to be very brutally honest with everybody watching this. If it says keto, don't buy it. I'm just saying, if it says it on a package, don't buy it because I promise you there are going to be ingredients in there that are not good for you. And that really isn't keto. Um, I'm probably stepping on a lot of toes by saying this right now. And hopefully I'm not stepping on yours, Courtney.
No, I
But it,
used to do that. Bad decision.
yeah, it's
They're
like
addicting.
there's yeah, they are. They're very addicting, and almost everything that wraps around that word is a dessert, and that's what I was guilty of. So, I mean, look, I would take my prime protein and make the most awesome mousse. Have you done this before?
I haven't.
Oh
I mean, I
gosh,
use their protein, but I haven't made a mousse.
okay, so it's pretty simple, and for anybody watching this, you're going to you're going to learn how to do this. It's very simple. I would take 1 scoop, which is about 23 grams of protein. I would add about 14 ounces of heavy whipping cream. I would add maybe a fifth of a cup of water and add, I really like, I love Redmond, but they don't make a chocolate electrolyte mix. So I would put the chocolate Redmond or chocolate element in it. If you don't have that, salt is fine. Redmond real salt I use. And because salt in the sweet is what we like, salt and sweet. Most people don't realize that's the thing that we love. And I would blend it in my little, I've got this like little ninja blender, and I would blend it in that, a smoothie maker. And once you hear it cavitate, it's turned into a mousse. The cavitation is it's all air, and that's what heavy whipping cream does. So that became a pudding mousse that I would eat. And I again, it's a dessert, and I really don't need to be eating dessert. So, going way back to what I said, if it says keto on the package, somebody's trying to sell you something, and I have this thing against multiple ingredient foods now. That's why I'm sticking to sardines, and that's why I'm trying to stick to Equip Protein. I actually contacted Equip because I do have an affiliation with them. Do you have an affiliation also?
Mhm.
So through that affiliation, I said, "Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't I do this thing where I spend 30 days eating just a scoop of prime protein a day?" And thank you, Mr. Starberry. Um, and I thought, well, if I do that, I mean, we're talking about survival. We're not talking about uh, your daily caloric, proper, necessary intake. I'm talking about the world's come to an end. The grocery stores are closed. You're now scrambling for what you're going to eat, and there's been some talk about that in this community, in our society, that we're going to have the same thing, like we had a run on toilet paper a couple of years ago. We're going to have a run on food. So how do you protect yourself? Well, I'm not a prepper, but I do prepare myself for some stuff. So if I've got water and protein powder is packable and light, then okay, I'm good. So I've got my life straws, and I've got my water filters and all that. I can literally drink out of the ocean if I wanted to. So that was the original plan. And then when Dr. Boz said sardines are the perfect food, all that, I said, okay, you know what, I'll do that. So that's how that ended up. So
I
Equip
am
said, well,
very
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, keep going. I'm saying I'm very intrigued by the sardine thing, but keep going and we'll come back to it.
So Equip said, "Well, obviously, Greg, we can't endorse you and say that we recommend this to everybody." And I understand. I mean, they're a business; they've got to stay away from lawsuits. And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not going to hold you guys accountable for this. I'm just going to show people that it's possible to survive." Ironically, in April, I met a lady by the name of Gwen Grimes. Hi, Gwen. I hope you're seeing this. Gwen was a three-time participant. I can't say contestant because it wasn't for money. A three-time participant on Naked and Afraid. And she explained to me how the second time she did this, it was 40 days without, they had to catch their own food. And she went 10 days, totally fasted. And then on the 11th day is when they started eating things like lizards and turtles and just really odd stuff, whatever you could find, because there was nothing. And she told me all about what it's like being behind the black curtain. There is no black curtain. You are literally dropped off, and there's no money involved here. You're not doing this for anything more than to prove it to yourself or maybe family members watching. But they literally had to feed themselves, and it was two teams of two and people who are strangers. And I thought, you know what? If she can go 40 days without eating anything or eating a turtle, which I'm just going to be honest, I don't eat turtles. If that's the way it's going to be, well, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. And that's where I kind of got into the right mindset. And that's where it all begins, is right here. How bad do you want something? And that's how bad I wanted it. So now, going back to what you said, you're intrigued by the sardines. Let's talk about them.
Well, you know what? I'm stuck and I need to lose some weight before KetoCon too. um, I could see how it would work because I don't love sardines. So if that's all you're eating, you're gonna lose weight because you're not gonna eat enough. Your body's gonna eat its own fat. And I'm gonna go actually, I'm gonna watch some of her videos after because I've seen people do it like for like a 3-day thing.
Mhm.
Is there a reason why I'm assuming there's something in sardines that would make her choose that as opposed to, because I have like cans of salmon that I love. Could I
Mhm.
get the same effect? I'm sure I would probably get the same weight loss effect if I did salmon instead because it tastes better. But is there something specific about sardines that she's picking sardines?
100% yes. And the easiest answer to that is mercury. And I
Okay.
don't recall exactly what the relationship was, but you'll see it in one of the videos. And in fact, I'll send you the exact link. And if you want to put it in the description of this video, it was the first video I watched about it. And I mean, I could pause this and go look, but I'm not going to. What she explained was that on a level of mercury poisoning, you have to eat. I'm I don't want to take this out of context, but I think she said 800 ounces in a week to achieve the levels of toxicity that come from mercury. One small can is 4.4 ounces from Wild Planet. And in that 4.4 ounces, what is 800 divided by 4.4? That is more sardines than you could possibly eat in a week. I think that's more ounces than I could eat in a month, to be honest with you, because one of the things that she explains is how quickly you reach satiety eating these. For those who are watching that don't really understand, and hi everyone, good morning to y'all too. For something that a lot of people may not know, satiety means you've reached a satiated point in your food intake that you can't eat anymore. You can force yourself. How many times have we found ourselves sitting at a Mexican restaurant table and we've eaten that entire bowl of chips, and then we go, "Oh my gosh, I forgot I ordered a burrito the size of my foot," right? And then you say, "Well, you know what? I've spent 14 more dollars on my bill buying this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and eat it because I don't wanna waste it." Again, I'm going back to the messy middle. This is what I'm talking about. This is how we get stuck in this mindset. And so when I got to the 3 and a half of 4 sardines in that can, it averages 3 to 4. When I got to the third and a half, I was so full I couldn't finish it. So you know what I did? I didn't finish it. Gave it to my dog. He loved it, but it didn't come out very cleanly from him because he's not used to eating fish. So I decided I'm not going to do that again. But there was no garlic in it, so that was a good thing. But what I'm saying is that satiety is reached like that. It will blow your mind. Blow your mind. So what she talks about is the amount of vitamin D3, vitamin K, vitamin E. Um, My wife is a marine scientist, a marine biologist, and she explained to me that in the food chain in the sea, krill is what is eaten by sardines. And oh, Healing Today, way to go. Good deal. Um, oh, and Healing Today, I'm starting Carnivore today. I'm so glad y'all are live while I grocery shop. This is the simplest grocery shopping you're going to do. Go find a can of sardines, learn how to eat them, go find ground beef. It's pretty cheap. Stick with single ingredient foods. That's all I'm going to say. Now, she explained that sardines eat krill, dolphins and sharks and tuna and any other big fish eat sardines. So if it's a dolphin staple food, if it's a shark's basic food, then that's why the mercury poisoning is so much lower in a sardine, because the sardine eats krill and krill can't eat, it doesn't consume all that mercury. So I guess the easiest way to say it is it's the healthiest food in the food chain for sea life. Yes, we're not sea life, but we are still animals just like they are. And if it's good for them, it's got to be good for us. That's why they make them in the first place. So it's been great. So there, that's
You know, it's so funny because I didn't know today's video was going to go towards the direction of maybe convincing me to do a sardine fast. So it's interesting. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I've been toying with the idea of like my husband keeps telling me like you need to do a long fast, like you just need to. And I'm like, it's such a mental block for me, like especially when I'm making the kids food all day. Like it's hard. If I could go like be put into solitary confinement for, 3, 5, 7 days, that would be great. So I've been entertaining the idea of doing like, Maria Emmerich's PSMF, the protein sparing modified fast, because at least like you're still able to eat.
yeah.
You're just high protein and lower fat just to like mix things up. But the sardine thing interests me, but I don't love them. Like, so I mean, you're definitely not going to overeat, and because that's my thing lately. I've been emotionally eating. So even though I'm like eating my good foods during the day, it's like at nighttime or even during the day when I'm stressed, like I feel myself going to want to pacify myself with some sort of food. And it's not steak, it's not, ground beef or chicken. Like I'm turning to pork rinds, bacon, carnivore bars, or meat chips, like something like that's like processed like that, or even like heavy cream. Like I'm eating to like numb my stress. So I think the sardine thing is a good idea if you're not wanting to actually like do a water fast, which I feel like a water fast would be great. But if you like to eat, this can like totally like be like a good reset. It would help, I assume, just like I've done like an egg fast, a 3-day egg fast. And it
Mhm.
just kind of like brings you back to, okay, like I'm only eating when I'm hungry, because if you're bored and you don't like sardines, you're not going to go eat sardines. So bringing it back to your true hunger cues and really like resetting to be able to like fight through those cravings or emotional things. So I've seen a lot about it as far as like using it for a reset for like 3-day fasts. I feel like are popular. Has she put out anything on like longer? Because you're doing it for what, like a month? Does she have thoughts on that?
I haven't researched her channel to see, and I didn't want to bug her because I feel like I don't want to overstep my her kindness, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries with her because she's still a very busy lady. So
Hmm.
I didn't bother her with those questions as much as I wanted to. However, I can tell you that she did not stop me from doing this for a longer term. And in fact, one of her text messages to me was, "I can't wait to see you in Austin with no belly." So
Ah, no
um,
pressure. You
yeah, no
got to do
pressure, right?
this.
Right. Now, let's be again, this is a raw conversation. Nothing is scripted. You're going to hear from my heart because this is who I am. And I think it's important that everybody gets to hear this because these are a lot of things that we all experience. So since I started doing this, of course, I'm limited to what I'm going to allow myself to eat. And I have a very specific goal. And if I didn't have this very specific goal, I probably wouldn't be doing this. And again, I dropped the ball for 4, almost 5 months by not doing the right steps. So, yeah, I could have done the same thing in 4 months, but I procrastinated, and that's the problem. Now, with this very specific goal in mind, you have to understand, just like anything else, if you have a cold, let's say you've got COVID, let's say you've got whatever, the doctor tells you take the Z pack. How many days does the Z pack last?
3 to 5?
Yeah. Now, the doctor tells you take it all the way through and continue taking it even after all the symptoms may have disappeared because you want that medicine to do its job, right? So you have a very specific timeline that you have to do something. That's what I saw this as. I have a very specific timeline. I have to do it this way. So what I did was I converted the mental process to this is medicine. So now I have to take this medicine
Mm.
to get myself where I want to be. If you've broken your arm, you have to wear a cast for a certain amount of time for that to heal, right? If I'm going to get to a point where I can go back to coloring outside the lines, eating little snacks here and there, I have to get myself to where I want to be first. If I pause that in any way, I find myself exactly where I am. So it became very important to me to treat this as medicine. So, in so doing, I have to tell you a funny story. A friend of mine weighs 260, and he's a little taller than me, a little bit bigger than me. And he said, Greg, what do I do? And I said, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm not telling you you have to do this, but this is what I'm doing. His response was BLECH. And I'm going to, was bleh, right? And I said, I'm with you, man. 4 years ago, I remember vividly sitting in my other home with my wife. This was before my stroke. And she said, hey, you want to try a sardine? And I was like, not really. And she said, come on, do it. Okay. So I tried it. I found myself spitting it out and looking for a cat. She said, what are you looking for a cat for? We don't have one. I said, because I want to lick its butt to get this taste out of my mouth.
Gosh.
But that's the God's honest truth. That's how much I dislike them. And so she said, "Okay, well, they're good for you, but if you're not going to eat them, then don't do it." And so I didn't eat sardines. I didn't know even a clue about Dr. Boz. I didn't know about the carnivore life. I didn't know about any of the benefits of sardines. She just wanted me to try them. No, 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 no. So that's where all that came from. Now, fast forward. I said to my friend, I'm going to give you a choice. This is how you mentally have to put yourself in this position. And somebody just made a comment about a new perspective about going on a diet, treating it like medicine, because that is what this is. So I said to him, I want you to take all the meds that you have to take in a daily basis. That might be metformin, that might be a heart med, that might be a cholesterol med, that might be aspirin. I want you to take all of those one way and one way only. You set a small glass of water down with about that much water in it, and you chew each pill one at a time, swish it around in your mouth and swallow it, and then chase it with just a little bit of water. All of your meds every single day. You do that for the next 30 days. And he goes, oh God, have you ever chewed aspirin, Greg? I said, oh, yes. I know how foul it tastes. He said, yeah, no, I don't think I can eat sardines. I said, well, then you chew your medicine. Because here's the thing, you choose your poison. Do you choose the one that you have to pay for every week or every month? And you have to pay for a doctor and blood tests, and that's not making you better? Or do you chew the thing that you might not really care for the taste, but it's actually the thing that leads you off of all those meds? And he went, now that you put it that way, okay. See, again, it comes back to how do we see things? How do we perceive things, right? That's why I said that. Now, somebody made a comment, the more Lisa Lyons says, oh, well, of course, Lisa Lyons, you're a lion, right? So you're going to, the lion diet's going to appeal to you. No, I get it. I totally understand. The lion diet is very appealing, but I've also found, pardon me, we have United Airlines coming in right now. Um, I won't get the same benefit from just sticking to a lion diet, not for my 30 days that I have this window of. It was impossible. I could not do it. Now, again, we're going to get back to, Redia, you'll have to go back in this to see, but I'm doing this, but for everybody who's just now joining, I'm spending 30 days very specifically eating only sardines to try to shed as much weight as I can before Hack Your Health, where I move my rig in. at 8 a.m. on May 30th. I cannot show up there overweight. I allowed myself to get overweight since last year. Now, again, being very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Determined, very direct. Um, I have a purpose for this. So, yeah, I can easily go to the Lion Diet after I've done this and gotten myself where I want to be. Now, I was going to save this for a video that I'm going to shoot, but I'll just use this now. Um, I'm a former pilot and I'm getting back into it. And there's a thing called rotation speed. It's known as V2. So when people understand you're cruising along the runway and you're going as fast as the airplane can in order to be able to lift off, that's called the rotation point, where you rotate the yoke backwards, rotate the aircraft from being on the ground to being in the air. You cannot do that in every aircraft. They have a minimum speed. And if you try to lift off below that minimum speed, number one, you're not going to be able to lift off. Number two, you might also crash and you could potentially die. Now, let's put that in diet terms. When you're eating to lose weight, you have a couple of options. There's a quick way and there is a long term way. Both ways work. Some ways are better than others. They all have their pros and cons. But one thing you can't do is before you get to the point where it's rotate, which is I've achieved my ideal body weight. Until you reach that, if you stop, if you eat a snack, if you eat something off the diet, if you color outside those lines, all you're doing is slowing yourself down and you're never going to get to be able to lift off. So there is no V2, there's no rotation. You're going to stay in the messy middle, what we're talking about. And so I think it's very important that we realize and put ourselves into the position of, okay, yes, I want to be there. How bad do you want to be there? I want to be in the air. How bad do I want to be in the air? Throttle to the firewall. Do not stop until I'm in the air. Because if I'm throttled to the firewall and I say, no, wait a minute, pull it out, you're not taking off. You're probably going to hit the end of the runway where there's trees or dirt. You're going to die. So that's how I see things.
That's actually a good analogy, and it makes me realize I'm stuck on the runway. Like I am just going around the airport. Real quick, you guys, can you all give this video a thumbs up? Give it a little like. That would be helpful. Um, but about sardines, okay, like people love them or hate them. I've heard and I've seen this in the comments too. Like add some mustard. That would be a good way.
I do that.
I have like quite a few cases, so I'm actually like entertaining this instead of actually doing um like a water fast, doing this so at least I can like still eat, because a water fast would be amazing, but maybe like baby steps. But I remember talking to Kelly Hogan about this was like a while ago, and she's like, yeah, but I have to like pull out the spine in the sardines. I'm like, excuse me? And she had this whole pile, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know those were in there. And I had already like eaten one. So I'm kind of grossed out. So I'm like, let me go look at mine. So I peel mine open, and you can pull out this whole and have it hanging. Like we joked, like that it looked like a pearl necklace, like that we were going to make friendship bracelets out of them. But so now my kid, my 6-year old, actually likes sardines. And since I showed this to him, he pulls it out and he'll just like eat it by itself. Ugh. Oh my
Grosses you
gosh.
out.
So gross. But now I'm really entertaining the thought of this to actually like I don't know, just I can see how people might think like if they are not in this space, they might think like, okay, that is disordered eating, you know? But I
Right.
feel like it's so similar to doing like we all know the benefits of doing a water fast. So like just, mentally it's I feel like it's still like along those lines and isn't like a damaging or a weird thing. Like you're doing this specifically for a certain amount of time to get a specific goal. And my husband cannot convince me to get this fast done, but you might have just convinced me to try this, because I would love to. At least I'm a little bit lower, or I'm closer to my goal than I was last year at KetoCon, but I am not at my goal, and it is kind of weird to, I feel a little weird promoting this diet and not
Mhm.
being like at the goal. And still, cuz I see comments and they're like, "Oh, no wonder you're so fat," cuz I'm eating better. And it's like just like like yeah, I can kind of get why people, say these things. Like you don't want to take health advice from an obese dietitian. You don't want to
That all day long.
yeah,
All
and
day
there's
long,
other
yes.
like examples from that. Like you wouldn't want to I don't know. You know what I mean. So yes, help Courtney out, hit the like button. 6 of you did. Thank you. There's 220 of you here. If you could all smash that thumbs up button. Trent is saying, I agree with him, but I don't think he's that serious. I'm doing a water fast, no food for 11 days, then carnivore. Yeah, I
Can I
mean,
speak to that
that,
real quick?
yeah.
Hey, Trent, I appreciate that comment. Listen, I think as we all individually approach life and how we do things, our opinion of how somebody else is doing something, I think, is not relevant. I think what's serious to you might not be serious to me, and what's serious to me might not be serious to you. So, what I'm trying to say is, I'm serious for what I'm doing, and I have been doing this for a long time as far as eating this way and knowing how I've colored outside the lines and gotten fat again. I know what works for me, and I know for a fact after doing this for what's today's date? The 18th. So I've been doing this for 16 days. I know for a fact what sardines have done for me. And I know for a fact that this is very serious to me because number one, I hate sardines. Number two, I hate limiting myself to less than 500 calories a day because I'm hungry just like anybody else would be, right? But my level of serious is that serious because I can't stand the things. The bones that Courtney was just talking about, the bones in the spine, all that, and the skin, it's all on my sardines. The only thing that's not there is the head and fins. And so it's all there, but that's all good for you. Everything that's in that is good for you. And that's kind of a big deal. So, yes, I am that serious. May not be serious to your standards, but to my standards, yes. And the fact is, it's working. I am now getting the results that I was hoping for. And Dr. Boz was not wrong at all. So, okay, going back to what you were saying about Jeff, Jeff can't convince you to do the water fast very well, but he can convince you. I can convince you to do the sardines. So,
Yeah, I really might do that because I would like to. I'm stuck. I'm in the messy middle, like we're talking about. I am just been constantly in maintenance mode, which I feel like should also be celebrated. First, let me just say thank you to Big D who bought that. Is that my husband? I don't. um, so, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
oh, and to answer somebody's question, these are Wild Planet sardines. I do EVOO, lightly smoked in lemon, and I eat everything in the can, but I do pour out most of the oil. So. You were talking about doing the water fast, and Jeff trying to convince you to do the water fast, and you were doing
Oh, and
sardines.
just yeah, just being like stuck at this maintenance mode. And I feel like that should also like be celebrated. That we've all like come a long way. And I think we get stuck and like, oh, we're plateauing or I've stalled, I've this, I've that. It's like, but you've also maintained. Like I have maintained my 55-pound weight loss for over a year and I've never done that. I
Mhm.
have gained and lost the same 50 pounds like 3 or 4 times. So the fact that this is the longest I've stayed is good. So I've been cruising in the friendly skies. I came down to do a touch and go, but I got stuck. I'm just stuck on the runway. I'm just cruising around. Now it's time to get back up. Um yeah, so let's see. Let's look at the questions. Yes, the one in oil, wild sardines. Jeff, if you're watching this, bring me a box and I will show everybody. They're in the cabinet on the right. It's a blue box. Um,
I was
Marga
actually
saying,
about to go inside and get one.
okay, I'll see if he can deliver, or you can do that. I might start that too. I was on a stall, but all good. I feel amazing. 22nd is 10 months carnivore and hack your health next month, which I would love to be 10 pounds down before the day. I would love that too. For you and for me. I would love that. Yay, Margot. I'm excited you're gonna be there. So come say hi to us. But yeah, I didn't know that this is where this conversation was gonna go, that I'm now gonna be convinced to do a sardine fast. And I just said like a few weeks ago, I'm like, if I ever say I'm going to do a challenge again, somebody remind me how much I hate these because I did 30 days no dairy and I'm just like over it. And I've done
Yeah,
lion, I've done BBBE, and I'm always like halfway through. I'm like, why did I say I'm going to do this? So maybe I'll
right.
just keep it to myself. I mean, you guys know, but if I do it, maybe I don't even create any content around it. So that way, if I fall off, then nobody will know.
Right. It's
I
your
don't
little
know.
secret. Well, I want to, I love speaking in the world of analogies because I think I can relate to things better that way. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who do this. I think it's important for people to understand that, again, you're doing this with a purpose, and you're going to find out because you are your own doctor how important this is. But in the world of analogies, it's important to understand that your alternative to continuing taxiing on the runway is that you're going to stand in your own way. You're never going to be where you want to be. And it's highly important that people understand that you will know your own limitations and you'll know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And so, yeah, that's why I speak in those analogies. And I had one and it went in my ear and then, or in my head, and it's right gone again. It'll come back. But
Lisa is asking, how did the egg diet go? Is that worth it to try? So I did this probably like a year ago now, and it was good because like what would happen with the sardines, like you're not going to eat more eggs if you're bored. Like you're going to be like at your limit. And in your mind, if it's like this is what I'm doing, everything else is off the table, then it's like you just have to have that mentality so that way you don't go and eat other things. And yeah, I think I lost maybe like a couple pounds. I mean, you gain a little bit back as you eat normally. I did 3 days. I know there's a plan for like I knew going into it. I'm like, I'm not saying I'm doing 5 days. I'm not gonna say I'm doing a week. Like I just know like that's just not gonna happen. And it was hard because at one point like we went camping, like we joined my mom camping for a night, and I was helping grill everybody ribeyes and I had to freaking eat eggs and mayonnaise. But it was a good reset to like really bring you back and really like be able to focus on your hunger cues because, like I said, I'm right now, I'll be full and I will want to reach to something else to eat, even though I'm not actually hungry. So if the other things are off the table, yeah. So I might do this thing. The durian diet, isn't that a fruit?
I've
I
never
feel
heard of
like
that.
I've seen, and the only reason I know that is Freely, the banana wackadoodle chick, has made a few videos on me, and I feel like she's talked about durian. DJ's sleep
I've never
apnea
heard of
has
it.
gone away. That's amazing. Down 29 kg, down since 2022 from South
Very good.
Africa. Hello, welcome. Yeah, if anybody has like any questions or you want to share any wins, let us know. We have a little bit of time left. And yeah, so make
I can't
sure.
imagine how Dr. Barry does this when there's thousands of things going through. I don't see how he does it. I feel like
Right.
people are gonna miss out on we're gonna miss out on answering people, and that really hurts. Let me see, diet is a cultural thing, primarily based on the region. Has anyone realized the correlation between diets and sponsors? I don't really understand that question. I will
Mm,
say this, yes, between cultures, dietary intake is different, but the thing that remains constant for everyone is processed food is what's killing you. That is the God's honest truth. If you can stick to a single ingredient food, you are going to be far and away better than you ever were. I want to speak to that for a minute. Again, we're talking about being human, right? I have been very careful to eat this, but along the way, things have, I used to also, Robin, along the way, things stand in the way. I had my stepdaughter turned 16. So I went, her favorite food is Cane's, Raising Cane's chicken fingers. They have a place in Texas. And so she had that, she fell in love, kind of like eating Zaxby's, right? So I drove to Orlando and I got a family size bucket, like 42 pieces for the whole family. And then I bought, and with fries. And then I had three of those fingers, but I peeled all the frying off of them, but it still had all that nasty oil. I ate those. And then my wife bought her a Chantilly lace cake. And Chantilly lace, for people who don't know, Chantilly lace was made by a lady at Whole Foods Market, and it became an instant hit, and everybody started copying it. My local grocery store, Publix, makes one, and Chantilly cream is simply heavy whipping cream with confectioner sugar, so there's no grit to it at all. There's so much sugar in that icing, oh dear God. So I had a little piece, and my blood sugar average was 84 going into this. My weight was down 11 pounds going into this. I ate that night, scared to death. I threw myself out of keto and or out of ketosis. Woke up the next day, waited a couple of hours, did my blood sugar 86, so it didn't hurt me. But I can tell you how I felt after eating that little slice of cake and those three chicken fingers. I would have rather tickled the back of my throat, chucked it all up, and gotten it completely out of my system and had fasted and watched them fast or eat sardines while they ate all that than to feel the way I did during that time. And the only way you're ever going to know that feeling is when you give yourself at least 2 weeks of not eating any sugar at all, not eating anything fried at all. Eat sardines for 2 weeks. Eat steak for 2 weeks with nothing on it. And when I say no sugar, not even a false sweetener, nothing. That's the only way you're going to know how this stuff affects you. And when you feel that, you're going to go, oh, holy cow, that is exactly what Greg was just talking about. That's how I feel. And then you do that again, it's going to put you down until you eat so much of it that you are at this level of feeling down. And that's no way to live.
Yeah, well said. Okay, let's answer a few questions. So Candy
Sure.
Pack is saying, I haven't lost any weight on the carnivore diet. So, but she's feeling really, or he or she is feeling really good. I would just be curious, like, what are you eating? Are you tracking any macros? Are you eating too much? Are you eating too little? Did you take any progress photos? How are your clothes fitting? How is your sleep? Like, there's so much more that goes into that. And as far as the sugar substitute, someone's asking, I mean, I don't do any sweeteners. I don't do any fake sweeteners. For me, I feel like it would just, create more sugar cravings. But if you don't have an issue with that and you can like moderate them or tolerate them, people like stevia. I've actually recently tried monk fruit because I was making cake and ice cream for my kid's birthday and I haven't used sweeteners in over 2 years. Oh my gosh. Monk fruit is amazing. Like there's no weird aftertaste because I don't like the aftertaste of fake sugars. It tastes like sugar. So use use that with caution. Me, I need to abstain from that stuff. Um yes, sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Yeah, sugar, it's going to light up areas in your brain like cocaine does. It's, triggering, it's doing the dopamine things.
It's
And
very
yes,
true.
your body could just be healing, it's holding on. So I would ask like how long, Candy, have you been carnivore too? How long have you been doing this? Hi Tina from San Diego. Oh my gosh, the pork rind cereal, it's so good. But be careful. It's always a two bowl event for me. Like I can't have one. If
Doable
anyone's
event.
wondering what that is, so you take pork rinds, just regular, like salted pork rinds, break them up a little bit. I love to do a sprinkle of cinnamon. It's good without. And then you could just use like raw milk or regular milk. Or what I love is some milk with a drizzle of heavy cream. So you're essentially making your own like half and half. It's so good. Like even my kids love it. But just know, like if you have an addictive personality, that could be not a good idea, but it's so good. I might have to
Yeah.
have a bowl if I'm gonna start a sardine fast, a bon voyage meal.
There you
Okay,
go.
2 years carnivore and you haven't lost any weight. Do you have a lot of weight to lose? And I would be curious, like, what you've been eating because
I
it's
think
easy
at
to
the end of the
overeat.
day, yeah, I think at the end of the day, there are a lot of misconceptions about the carnivore life, and I do not like the word diet because diet's a four-letter horrible word. It means you have to give something up. And truthfully, yes, you're giving up carbs, but what you're getting is you're getting to eat healthy, good food, not healthy, non-fat food, not the crap that they try to sell you. I think it's very, very vital for people to stop and really assess what it is they're eating and how much they're eating. It is not a silver bullet to eat steak every day because you can overeat steak every day because you're eating too many calories. It does not fail. Calories do count, and you can overeat them. And if you're trying to lose weight, just because you see Dr. Sean Baker eating 6 pounds of ribeyes a day doesn't mean that you can eat 6 pounds of ribeyes a day unless you're a world champion rower, unless your arms are as big as my legs, unless you're 6'7", unless you're 290 pounds of mostly muscle. If that's not you, then you can't do what he's doing, period. Because the amount of calories he has to eat sustains his ability to thrive. The amount of calories that he eats is not the same as what Anthony Chafee eats. It's not the same as Paul Saladino. And I use these people because they're the ones that have the abs, 6 pack all the way up to 12 pack. These are the people that have that physical fitness look, females included. These are the people that we want to be like, but that doesn't mean we get to eat like they do. Also, what we do is we scale it. So I can't possibly eat 1,500 calories a day and think I'm going to lose weight. I have to eat 1,300 calories a day, and then I'll lose weight, but I'm eating 1,300 good calories. So you cannot outwork a bad diet. You cannot excuse yourself by, oh, well, I just ran 6 miles, so it's okay for me to eat a donut. No, the types of calories you eat really matters. So 1,000 calories of cereal is not 1,000 calories of ribeye. Very different in how they're processed in your body. Just understand that if you're a carnivore, you can even be lion diet. Do not overeat your calories in that as well. Do research to learn what calorie macros are in the things that you eat. And I have been saying this for a long time, and I'm going to preach this from the mountaintop. If you're reading the ingredient list of anything that you're eating and you stumble across a word, that's where you stop. Because if you can't pronounce the word, if you can't identify the origin of the word, if you can't identify what it is doing for the food or for your health, good or bad, then why are you putting that in your mouth? Seriously. And I get passionate about this because there's a difference between being ignorant and being stupid. Ignorant simply means you don't know any better. Stupid means you know better and you chose the stupid route. You chose to do that thing that hurt you. So you have to have a passion for your own life. I'm talking to everybody that's reading this. You have to take control of your life. Not me, not Courtney, not Anthony Chafee, not any of these influencers, not anybody in the chat. It's up to you. And the only way you're going to know is how you do this for yourself. Hard facts. It's the reality.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you
that
for
didn't
that.
come across negative.
No, okay, so I'm reading through comments. So Candy Pack thinks she's actually like under eating. I would just track and see, like, just track a day or like what you've done in the past and just see where you're at and where you're landing because you want to make sure you're getting enough for what your body needs to. Robin is asking, how do you permanently stay the course with everyone else not eating your way, including your family? Cooking for them, but can't eat it. Coworkers and personal family eating different, which makes it hard. Um, just you've got to just remember your why. Like, why are you eating this way? And it might need to be a little bit deeper than just like losing weight. Like, okay, so you have a family, so maybe your why can be, you want to run around and play with your kids, or you want to be a good example for your kids. So you got to like dig deep and do the inner work to keep you on track. Like for me, I know I'm like one bite away from my old habits and I need to abstain from these foods that don't serve me well because I can't moderate them at all. So that's helpful. And just like not like mind your business, but just don't worry about what they're eating. Don't even look at it. Just, mind your own plate and stick to, what helps you feel your best.
Can I speak to that real quick?
Please.
If you've ever flown commercially, you hear the flight attendant tell you, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then put it on somebody else, right? That applies in your kitchen. I don't care if you're the only person in the house who knows how to cook. It's time for somebody else to learn. Because here's the thing. When I started doing this, my wife was not on board with me eating the way I was. And I said to her, listen, I don't have the mental capacity to handle cooking for all of you and take care of myself. I love to cook, but I can't do it for you because what I'm having to prepare for you guys is what I'd love to have. And that's a dangerous, slippery slope for me. So, like you said, one bite and you're back in your old habits. I can't do that. So I had to set a ground rule. It wasn't a line, it was a full moat. I've done that now. Now I draw a moat around myself because people will find other ways to get into you. So I drew a moat and I said, I'm cooking for myself. If you want to eat the protein that I'm eating, you're welcome to it. I will cook enough for all of you. Don't ask me to create a meal plan for you. Don't ask me to cook your sides. I don't eat the sides. If you guys want those sides, you come to the kitchen. I will give you teaching lessons and how to prepare. Time for you to start taking care of yourself. Now I'm going to extrapolate this to the worst case scenario. What if I continued eating poorly and I died of that stroke that I had? What if I continued eating poorly and I died of a heart attack? People have to learn how to cook for themselves at that point, right? So it really does sort of become that dire. Do or die. You either learn how to cook for yourself as a family who doesn't want to eat the way I do, or you learn to eat what I eat and thrive. House of Keto, Abby did this, and her child went from being autistic to the autism is gone because everybody in the family had to eat the way she cooked, and that was it. I have a very good friend, Eric Reynolds, his wife G. They all eat what G approves. If it's not G approved, nobody eats it. It's that serious because if it's good enough for me, of course it's good enough for my kids. Of course it's good enough for my friends and my family. So I want them to eat like this, but I'm not going to force them to. They will naturally start finding it. So
Yeah, and I agree. I was also thinking that, but I wasn't gonna say it. Yeah, just don't cook it for them. I mean,
just don't.
for some tough love, don't do it. I don't, especially if you're struggling. Like you're doing this to help yourself. It's not like being rude. You're taking care of yourself. Like I wouldn't, go bartend if I'm an alcoholic. Like you just don't want to put yourself around that. So why do
Bingo.
the same with food? So I mean, I'm not making anything for my family for the most part. I mean, once in a blue moon, like at Thanksgiving, one year, I think I made Jeff some stuffing because he can moderate that and be done with it and go about, back to carnivore. But I was at a good place and I didn't have a desire to eat it. But if you're struggling to stay on track and you're having to cook these other foods, then don't cook them. Let them have protein. I'll cut up some fruit for my kids, but I'm not, tempted by that fruit. But they're eating what we're eating. And if we have guests come over, you guys are carnivore for the day. Unless you want to bring over your own side dish. I'm not cooking things for other people. Sorry. I'm
I
not going
say
to
the same
contribute
thing.
to poisoning them. So,
That's the way to look
yes.
at it.
Stress
That's the
can
way to look at it.
definitely be a contributor to not losing weight. Sorry, I'm catching up on the comments now.
Sure.
Um
Sarah,
cooking
I
the
want you to look up somebody on Instagram. Her name is Crazy Carnivore Chick. She was the crazy vegan chick. And she did that for many years until she literally flipped overnight and went from being vegan to carnivore. And she has a long, good discussion about having to cook vegan and realizing how exhausting it was. Anyways, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to get caught up. Yeah.
Sure.
Someone was saying, I don't know where it went, but I saw one go by of like, kind of like burnout on meat in the beginning, not eating enough like in the first few weeks. I feel like anything that happens in the first few weeks is normal. Things are wonky. Your body's adjusting. Real quick, can everyone give this video a thumbs up? But I remember like day 3-ish or so texting my husband and being like, I don't think I ate enough today. I'm like, is that okay? Because it's like your body's just adjusting and it's fine. And eventually it will all balance out and you'll get used to it. It's just a lot of protein and a lot of fat than you're probably used to eating. And yeah, just listen to your body. Don't force yourself to eat anything. It will all balance out and it will all be good. Okay, guys, we can maybe like do like one more minute or so if anyone has any last questions that I don't know if we missed any. They
While
kind of
you're looking for that, I wanted to say I'm pretty sure most of us have seen photographs of realtors on business cards and on the sides of buses and on billboards. And then when you actually see or meet that realtor, they don't look much like that photograph. It almost seems like they took that photo back when they were a senior in college, and that's what they held on to for, I don't know, the next 40 years. And that's not who they are. That's one of the reasons why I told you about this whole should I expose myself and be brutally honest? And you said, yes, the messy middle, that's where you are. So that's what this is all about. This is the realtor, the real realtor versus the realtor that you see in a photo that's 20 years old.
I love it. Okay. Sorry, I just had to delete a comment real quick. I
Yeah,
every time
I
I'm in
saw
here,
it
I'm
too.
like, "Oh, I need to have a moderator that can go through and block
Are we
these
time limited to
wackadoodles."
an hour, or is that just you and I time limited?
Me time limited because my family's out there waiting for me to be done.
I Same. They all wanna go to the beach, so I
Yeah,
wanna go with them.
yeah. Awesome. Well, I feel like this was a really good talk, and I didn't know like some of these things that I like needed to hear, and I wasn't even expecting some of these topics. And I'm excited. I might be secretly starting a sardine fast, but I don't
You have my
know.
full support. Tell Jeff I've got your back on this too.
Maybe
So,
I do a sardine slash egg fast. Like, I don't know if I could just do sardines. I might
you'd
have to
be
create my
surprised.
own. Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
I
Well,
would.
here's the thing. You talked about a fast. Don't put a time limit. Number one, do not put a time limit on your fast. Don't say I'm going to do a fast for 24 hours. Just say I'm going to do a fast. Go as long as you can push through it. Okay. There is a point where you can do too much, but you'll know that because you'll feel it. You'll be loopy. You'll want to have a sugar fix of somehow to get your brain fog gone. But what I'm saying is do that fast. If you can do it for 3 days, that's actually about how long it takes to purge the water retention that everybody talks about. Pardon me. Once you purge the water retention, as you start stepping on a scale, that's where you're really going to see the result because that fat is not really fat. That's just the water weight. It's gone. Then you stick to eating something like sardines every day, or and again, if you need to eat 5 cans of sardines in a day, knock yourself out. Dr. Boz says you cannot overeat them, and you won't overeat your calories if you eat 3 or 4 or 5 jars of these things a day. So there's that. So
Awesome. Someone's saying they have done a combination of the egg fast and the sardine fast for me. Oh, like you combine both of them for it. Yeah, I'm gonna just see where this takes me. I'll definitely need to use mustard on the sardines to get them down. And I'm 100% going to be texting my friend Lauren after this and tell her that she's doing this with me because she just did a 10-day water fast, and she's been wanting to like do another one. Yeah, so I feel like she'd be on board with this.
cool, cool. So I want to invite you to everybody that's watching this. If you don't already know, Hack Your Health. Courtney's actually going to be there. She's going to be representing a cookbook that she just wrote, and she's going to be giving a speech. Is it going to be in a breakout session, or are you going to be on a main stage?
No, I'm just doing the cooking demo. I'm not
Okay.
speaking other than that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're doing a cooking demo. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that's going to take place. We haven't talked about this, but you know there's going to be plenty of room in front of brisket. If you
I
want to
think
do
that's where
anything
it's
there,
I think that's where they said it's probably going to be. Is like in between your RV and the VIP lounge.
okay, number one, the kitchen in my RV is open to you. The refrigerator is open to you. It's all plugged in, all air conditioned. I can close it off to prevent people from coming and going when you need it. But I wanted to open it up to you to say that space is entirely yours for your demo if you want it, so that it can become sort of a gathering space. And we'll have a table if you want. But I really would love for you and I specifically to sit down face to face. We've already done this once, and for those who don't know, I met Courtney last year at Hack Your Health when it was known as KetoCon. And Courtney and Jeff were so sweet and so kind. They reserved a seat for me during the carnivore discussion panel, which was an amazing discussion panel. But it was such a kind thing for them to do because it's a packed house and there really wasn't any room. So they did that for me. And that's where we became friends. But I want to extend an invitation for you to come sit with me and have other people come join and be a part of this conversation, and let's have a sit around the campfire talk. For those who don't know, the RV will be set up as if we are at a campground, fake grass and everything, and it feels like you're at a campground. Please come join me, Courtney. I would love to sit and have discussions like this. Let other people ask questions, and I'll just shut up.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, let's hang out when we can for sure. Lisa, this is in like 2 weeks, I think. So it's May 31st through June 2nd. It's like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's in Austin, Texas at Palmer Event Center. They
Mhm.
still have tickets available. You can actually, I have a code if you use Luna 50,
Me
you'll
too.
get $50 off. I don't get anything from it. They just think, oh, Courtney's doing a good job promoting us. That's all. I just get props. So I don't say that as like a sales thing. It just saves you $50. And yeah, we'd love to see you guys there. and I'm
Well,
cooking
that
Friday
$50
morning.
savings buys us barbecue across the street.
Yeah,
They
there
can
you
buy
go.
us
Yeah.
barbecue. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Yeah, go to Terry Black's across the street for lunch. It's going to be amazing.
Mhm.
So hopefully you guys can join us. And yeah, thank you so much. Make sure you go follow Greg. His handle like should be clickable somewhere, but it's the is it the RV Carnivore?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so make sure you
YouTube,
go
it is
follow him.
at the RV Carnivore. So it's youtube.com/@ the RV Carnivore. I don't understand, but I'm sure yours is the same way. And then Instagram is
Yes.
at the RV Carnivore. And then the website is rvcarnivore.com, not the, although I do have that tied in. It's rvcarnivore.com. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, go find him. Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We are almost at 50,000 subscribers on here, guys. Like, let's do this. You
It's
guys
pretty
are
awesome.
awesome. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this morning, spending your morning with us. And yeah, go have a kick ass day and let's eat some sardines, you guys. Report back if anyone tries it.
And sincere apologies to anybody who asked a question we didn't answer. I'm really sorry I didn't do it. It's hard for me to follow this. So, Courtney, this has been a blast. Thank you so much.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. All right. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye,
Happy
everybody.
Saturday.
Thanks for joining.